Every time I ask someone the question, what do you want? Like, not sarcastically, but like, what do you want? I get this general response of, well, what do you mean, what do I want? Well, and then when I dare ask myself that question, my answer isn't a whole lot better. And so I want to ask you, what do you want? I know it's not a fair question, is it? But before I ask that question, I have to back up and start with Isaiah 55:8 and 9. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, and your ways are not my ways. This is the Lord's declaration. For as heaven is higher than earth, so my ways are higher than your ways, and my thoughts are higher than your thoughts. Well, isn't that a nifty little thing? Because I've always looked at that verse and thought, yeah, God's just pulling the, I'm bigger than you are, I'm better, I know more than you do, na 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 na. That's not what he's saying at all. Leave it to my brain, right? Actually, what he's saying is he's telling us his ways and thoughts are higher than ours, and he's inviting us to come up to his level. Oh my gosh, did I get that one messed up? To think like he thinks and have ways like he does. And we do this by being united in Christ and having the mind of Christ, which is 1 Corinthians 2:16. And I'm going to read that one out of the Amplified, oh, I can't say that word, Amplified version. For who has known or understood the mind of the Lord so as to guide and instruct him and give him knowledge? But we have the mind of Christ and do hold the thoughts of his heart. Which, okay, that's pretty cool when you think about it, that as believers we have the mind of Christ. How amazing would that be? And actually is that? But, you know, good grief, how many times do I ask myself the question, what do I want? And I answer myself with, oh, this is what I want. I want this. And then I immediately follow it with, but, oh, that won't work because they said blah, blah, blah. Or I can't do that because so-and-so said something else. And I'm constantly making up these excuses of why this won't work when I'm killing the possible miracle or dream God has given me, which would be his plan, because I don't think the way he does, and I have this huge list of excuses instead of this huge mind of God. Yeah, that's really not having the thoughts and ways of God, is it? And that's pretty stinky, big time. Well, this totally reminds me of the story in John 5, pretty much like 7 through 9 or ish. And Jesus had gone to Jerusalem, and they were walking by the sheep gate, a pool called Bethzatha. I can't say that word either. I'm doing really great today. But, okay, so the deal is there was a guy there, and he'd been disabled for 38 years. And Jesus saw him, and he realized the man had been disabled for a really long time. And he looks at the dude, and he's like, hey, do you want to get well? And the sick guy is like, well, yeah, but I have no one to put me in the pool. And when the water is stirred up. So when I'm trying to get into the pool, someone else goes down there before me. Well, I know Christ is like amazing and kind and way better than me, hence my thoughts and his thoughts, and I'm working on that. I would have been like, dude, you're making excuses. And Jesus didn't do that. He just says, stand up, pick up your mat, and walk. Well, the guy was full on with the excuse. He wasn't listening. He didn't hear what Christ said. Christ said, do you want to get well? Do you want to walk? Do you want a life? And the guy immediately was saying, well, I can't because. Gosh, doesn't that sound really familiar? Or at least it does to me. We already know that Jeremiah 29:11 says, God knows the plans He has for us to prosper us and not harm us and all that good stuff. And then on top of that, we go to Ephesians 3:20, and in the Message it says, God can do anything, far more than you could have imagined or guessed or request in your wildest dreams. He does it not by pushing us around, but by working within us, His Spirit deeply and gently within us. And on top of that, we go back to Isaiah, where God says, my thoughts are not your thoughts. And then we know, because we have the mind of Christ, we have access to those thoughts. Okay, I'm getting a pattern here. Are you seeing this? I'm the one making the excuses, making the I can't do this because, and God is going, girl, would you pick up your mat and walk? Can we get on with this already? I mean, He's not really saying that, but to me, that's kind of how it feels to myself, not from Him, but to myself. Because it's not like He can't do it. It's not like He won't do it, whatever it is. But it's this idea that I have all my excuses, and the majority of my excuses are based on past, something that's not even here today, and it's certainly not even going to be there tomorrow. So I'm the one putting, the stop and the limits on God. Can He work around it? Absolutely. His plan will be done one way or another. His plan will be done. But, I think it's probably better if I don't fight it every step of the way. So I guess then the question becomes, what do I want? What do you want? And the question He asked the guy at the pool is, do you want to be healed? And I have to turn that question around and go, do I want to be healed? Do I want to have a fantastic life? Do I want to know God better? Do I want everything that God is planning for me in this life? Do I want financial stability? Do I want healthy relationships? Do I want my children to prosper and know the Lord and have a great life? Do I want my friends to have, do I want to impact my friends in a positive way so they know who God is and they desire a relationship with Him? So the question becomes, what do I want? What do you want? That's a tough question. It's not an easy question because we're not willing to ignore or get rid of these limitations that we put on ourselves. And they're real limitations, and they have real legs, so to speak. They're hard, they're difficult, they're not easy. They don't just go away with the snap of a finger. But the more we look at these verses and the more we lean into the character of God and who He is and what He wants and what He's planning, and we, take every thought captive, subjecting it to the will of God, and decide, yes, it's time to do it God's way. It's time to say, yes, I want the healing. Yes, I want the life you have for me. Yes, I want all of these things. And show me how to not make the excuses, and show me what the excuses are, because a lot of times I don't even know what the excuses are. So anywho, that's kind of, again, where I'm at right now, because I'm seeing lots of excuses on some things that I know I need to be doing and I know are going to happen, and I'm digging my heels in a little bit. So y'all, don't dig in your heels. Don't follow my example.